Yo, this is the $350 Intel CPU build that doesn't freaking suck. Plus you have a ton of upgradability down the road. So I'm just going to go through the parts and the costs now, but later in the video I'll explain some of my reasoning on some of the components, and of course the build list is going to be in the description. So starting us off, we got the H610MK motherboard for our Intel 3 12100F, both of which I bought from AliExpress. We got a little instruction warning sheet, all in Chinese, of course. We got the I/O shield, got a little SATA cable. So this is a pretty bare bones motherboard. There's actually no CMOS battery. Whatever, that's just a couple bucks. But this motherboard is going to be pretty good for what we need it for. One thing to note though, there's no RGB header, but the case has us covered there. I'll explain more later when we get there. We're going to throw 2 sticks of RAM in, 8GB, 3200 MHz RAM. We got our cooler, Thermalright Assassin Spirit 120 in black with the ARGB, of course. Also going to throw in a 512GB NVMe SSD. 2025 NVMe's, come on, essential. Let's go, guys. We're going to be using a ThermalTake Smart 500-watt power supply. I also got these blue cable extensions. I think they look pretty sweet. They're really going to make the build stand out. It just adds a little bit of personality, you know. Alright, we got the GPU. GTX 1070, 8GB. So you can find these GTX 1070s for pretty much around $70 pretty easily. If you look on the eBay, Facebook, you can even get that price down a little bit. This is definitely going to be a good enough GPU at 1080p, and it gives us time to save up and upgrade to a better GPU down the road, but for right now it's going to work perfectly. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a $350 PC. What are you expecting? We got it all put together, looking pretty good. The blue cable extensions, we'll see if they get pulled off, but I think it adds a nice contrast to the build. Alright, we got the first boot up, all synced up, everything spinning, all the RGB is perfect. Just gotta swap the color. There she is. So this case actually comes with the RGB and fan hub. So it's actually synced up to this little button right here. You can easily change the colors. You can sync through some different kinds of effects. It honestly looks pretty good. It's super convenient, especially with these budget boards that don't have an RGB header. Alright, so I'm gonna talk about the performance right after I talk about a couple things. To hit a $350 price point, obviously, sacrifices have to be made. We're using a cheaper, no-name motherboard. There's only 2 RAM slots, not a big deal. Most people only use 2 anyways. 2 is also the most stable. Some other downsides, there's no Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. I mean, but you can just put a Wi-Fi card or get a Wi-Fi USB and a Bluetooth USB stick for like $8 each. You can also just use an Ethernet cable. That gives you better internet speeds anyways. So this is a super easily upgradable PC. I see a lot of budget builds that are just utter trash. With this PC, at least you're on a newer CPU platform. It's very upgradable. You can buy a used 12400 or 12600F or anything around there if you want to just upgrade and have more CPU performance. But really, a 12100F has pretty good gaming performance for the price. So for the GPU, you can save up and throw definitely a better GPU in here than a 1070. But I mean, for $350, you're on a new platform for the CPU, and the GPU has 8GB of VRAM. That's at least, honestly, in this day and age, the minimum amount of VRAM that's needed to play any game. So I mostly chose this CPU and GPU combo because you can commonly find these prices in the US. These are not one in a million deals. These are not just lowballing the hell out of people. This is just like every day. You can look on eBay, you can look on Facebook Marketplace. You can snag these pretty cheaply if you're just a little patient, and obviously buying used, of course. So the real reason why you're here, if it wasn't for the looks, then it's for the performance. First off, we have a total 3D Mark Time Spy score of a respectable 5975. The GPU scored a 5881 and the CPU scored a 6572. At 1080p, this is still a pretty good PC. It feels pretty snappy, feels good, it's super responsive. With upscaling and frame gen, you can pretty much play any game at a decent frame rate, including Cyberpunk. At low settings with those features on, I was averaging around 80 FPS. The Marvel Rivals at low settings with no upscaler and no frame gen, I was averaging around 70 FPS. Fortnite with performance mode settings averaged well over 150 FPS. Playing esports games, you're going to be well over 125 FPS pretty much any day. I found a great benchmark YouTube video. I'll put the link in the description if you want to see the games being played with the FPS counter and seeing them live, you know. So that video uses a 12100F and a GTX 1070, same as this combo. So that will give you a good look at the performance if you want to check that out more in depth. I think the performance for an easily repeatable $350 PC build is pretty damn good. And if you look at the PC, I think it looks pretty good too, especially for the price. I mean, the cable extensions and the RGB being synced up really add a lot. So I ended up posting this PC on Java for $474.99. Sold it in less than 2 days, and that was on a new seller account without any sales. So undershot just a little bit, but whatever. I mean, it's still super easy build. Very repeatable, and honestly the fact that it sold so quickly at that price was pretty cool. You can definitely ask for more if you're building this PC just to sell. Alright, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. I got a lot of sick builds coming up. We got a super gooned out PC that we're fixing up. We got a sick ass blue PC that's pretty damn awesome. So stay tuned, look out for those. Those are gonna be sick. Alright. Catch you around.